political advantage and gain. And to think that the party in question, even with the expenditure of far more money, lost, exclamation point. Now here's the other side. Democrat ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff. Watch.
Nothing we heard today has changed our view that there is no evidence to support any allegation that the FBI or any intelligence agency placed a spy in the Trump campaign or otherwise failed to follow appropriate procedures and protocols.
Joining me right now, Bud Cummins. He's a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Arkansas and partner at Avenue Strategies. Good to see you, Bud.
Good morning.
What do you think really happened here?
Well, you know, they're playing word games, and it's intended to be a distraction. And I think if you look at the overall landscape, there's a lot of concern among the Democrats and the left about the political implications of these latest revelations. They don't want to concede that a spy was put in the campaign. Okay, what about a confidential human resource paid to approach members of the campaign to try and elicit damning information? I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but they, during the course of an ongoing presidential campaign, the FBI targeted people in the campaign and went on a fishing expedition.
Okay, so what's the difference between a spy and an informant?
You got me. What's the difference between a murdering MS-13 gang member and an animal? You know, what's the difference between they eavesdropped on my campaign, whatever the president said, you know, they eavesdropped on me in Trump Tower. Well, they put taps on members of his team that talked to him. You know, it's a word game.
So I guess the question then,
it's talking points is really what it is.
Were they doing this for political reasons, or were they doing this because they somehow thought there was a legit fear that the Russians had infiltrated the Trump campain? The president says political reasons. I can't look into the souls of all the decision makers, but it's gross incompetence. And at best, it was a bunch of career bureaucrats within DOJ and FBI trying to somehow get involved in something they absolutely had no understanding of, which is politics, and they completely gummed it up. That's so why
the best
would they do
scenario.
that?
Well, they might have convinced themselves they were trying to do good, and they had some legitimate concern about Russian interference in elections. I mean, we can give them that, but now let's fast forward. And I ask you, what are they investigating now? What is the Mueller team? And I ascribe no misdeeds to Rosenstein or Mueller. What are they investigating? And in this polarized country, shouldn't you and I know that? I mean, you and I probably have 8 or 12 years of college between us, and we have no idea what they're doing.
They're allegedly investigating collusion. They want to know whether the Russians colluded with the Trump campaign. I mean, I think you and I have, and the rest of America right now has already seen that there is no evidence of collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians.
That's right.
But that's,
so what are we investigating today?
They're claiming that they could wrap it up shortly. I mean, I guess it's a question of whether or not the president's willing to sit down for an interview. Should he?
I don't think he should, because it's a trap, and until he and his team and the American public even know what crime they're investigating. You know, you've talked about a young man being released in Venezuela. You've talked about North Korea. Our justice system is supposed to be different than that. You know, there's a DOJ motto. It's in Latin, and there's kind of a little mystery about it, because apparently the people who understand Latin say it doesn't really mean anything. It's grammatically incorrect. So, but I'll tell you one thing it doesn't mean. Show me the man, and we'll find you the crime. Right. That's about as American as Russian caviar, and that's what we're doing right now.
So Lee Zeldin, Congressman Zeldin, was just here on set, and he's calling for a second special counsel. I've talked to some people who say that, look, they don't like special counsels, period, because they think it sends us down a dangerous path and a slippery slope. That said, I think what you're getting at is, you know, they've got this investigation going on. So far, they've come up with no collusion. But is there something else there? Is there a deep state at work that really wants to basically change the will of the American people? And if so, does that deserve a special counsel investigation?
I count me among the people that don't like the special counsel statute. Congress created the independent counsel. They tried to fix it here. It obviously doesn't work. They've allowed a special counsel to be launched like the bomber at the end of Dr. Strangelove on fraudulent pretense, and now they don't know how to recall it. It's just going. And so I don't like that. I think it's, in this case, it's the weaponization of politics. But the American people deserve the truth.
Yeah.
So whether it's through the independent, or through the OIG reports, or through a special a committee that Congress sets up for this purpose, to have hearings like in Iran-Contra and find out, but they need to do it soon, because the American people, there's so many important things going on. And nobody deserves to have this distraction where they're shouting questions at the president about Russia when we've got all these important things going on.
But before I let you go, I mean, isn't this exactly what Russia might have wanted? I mean, isn't this what Vladimir Putin wanted all along? I mean, this discord that we now have?
Of course it is. Their interests merged with the Democrat Party's interests, and they were able to con the country into going down this path, and we don't know how to stop it.
Yeah. All right, Bud Cummins, so good to see you. Thank you very much for all your insight. Be sure, everyone, you got to catch next Sunday's show, because Maria is going to be interviewing the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes. It's starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Fox News Channel.